I just needed to get it out of my system.
You did.
I did. I went for it, and I did that.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Self Help Us, the podcast where we talk about mental health, etc. My name is Sophia.
And I'm Priya.
So on to our episode topic today, and that's Queer Eye.
Queer Eye.
If you don't know about the show, it's about 5 gay guys who make over men. Or just anybody, I guess.
Yeah.
And they each have a different specialty. Bobby does interior design. Karamo does culture. We'll talk about what that means later. I feel like that's kind of quote-unquote culture.
Yeah, it's kind of like a catch-all.
Catch-all.
Yeah.
Tan does style. Jonathan does grooming. And Anthony does food.
Yes, and before we hop into like dissecting Queer Eye and all that cool stuff, I just wanted to mention that season 2 is coming out on Netflix on June 15th, and we are super, super excited. You are right in assuming that we're going to binge the entire fucking thing super, super fucking fast. It's going to be awesome, and I'm just so excited.
Yeah, and Queer Eye is actually a reboot of an original show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Mm-hmm. But now they've just rebooted it so it could be for anybody. Yeah. And there's actually a really important episode 4, where they make over a gay man. And we'll talk about that later, but that's a really important part of the episode, that he's gay.
Oh, yeah, and if you guys haven't watched Queer Eye or, like, you don't know anything about it, now would be a really good time to pause the podcast and just, like, watch a trailer for it, because, like, you can't really appreciate, like, not only what Queer Eye is in totality, but also, like, the enormous, like, effort that each of these guys goes to make someone else's lives a little bit better. Yeah,
I feel like it's more than it's like their slogan, more than a makeover.
It is.
It's more than a makeover because I feel like they really nurture these men into being better versions of themselves, and not just sort of a generic kind of slick, handsome version that can be in an advertisement.
And, like, isn't that what we all want, is to just become the best versions of ourselves?
And, like, to have 5 gay men help us do it.
I mean, that is my personal dream. That is how I feel I will achieve my best self, is to have all these dudes come over and help me. But until then, I will just have to watch the show and kind of, like, get it through, like, osmosis or something. I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
And each episode is around, like, 20 to 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty bingeable.
Yeah.
The episodes aren't dependent on each other, so just feel free to, like, pick out one and see what you will like about it.
Yeah, definitely. Although I think I finished season 1 in, like, the span of 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very easily bingeable, and also definitely have, like, a tissue box, some Kleenex
oh my
nearby.
Goodness, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sophia knows this. I'm, like, a crier. I cry all the time. But this show, oh my god, it was waterworks galore.
Oh, Priya knows I'm not a crier. And it's actually really hard for me to cry even if I want to, but episode 4 makes me cry every single time.
Dude, seriously.
So part of what we love about the show is how it talks about mental health as an integral part of your overall health.
And, like, your overall, like, person.
Just you, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they give you nice clothes, and they give you a nice house, and they help you to cook, but it's also about feeling confident inside.
And feeling like you are valued and you value yourself, and, like, you take care of yourself.
Yeah. Taking care of yourself is not a selfish thing. It's how you show yourself that you care about you, and it's how you show others that you care about you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also love how it breaks down barriers around male mental health. Mm-hmm. Men don't often want to admit that mental health even exists.
Yeah.
So...
like, they don't want to admit that mental health plays a role in their life at all. They're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm a big, strong man.
Yeah, just, like, very traditional notions of masculinity and mm-hmm. how you're always supposed to be strong and you're never supposed to cry. Mm-hmm. Never supposed to show any kind of soft emotion. Yeah. So, like, the fact that these 5 gay men who are already breaking down barriers by being gay, they're like, no, seriously.
No, especially in the communities that they go to.
Yes. Especially in the communities they go to. And then they go there and they say, you know, there is no one way to be a man. Yeah. There's no one right way to do it.
Yeah. There are multiple, quote-unquote, right ways to do it. It's just like, you know, with men, society tells you exactly, like, you need this and this and this, and you can't be this, and you can't do this. And I think trying to fit yourself into a box that is, like, as small as that is, you know, takes a really big toll. And a lot of people are just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm not good enough. I can never be good enough. And then it shows.
Yeah, and an important statistic that is up for discussion around mental health is that men have higher suicide rates than women.
Yeah.
And a part of that must be because of all these traditional notions of masculinity. And also part of that is that, you know, if you're a quote-unquote caps man, then you don't really vent to your friends about how sad you are or how tired you're feeling.
Right.
So
a lot of times you'll keep it inside, you'll push it down, you'll self-medicate perhaps, but talking about it, expressing, like, not only do you have these feelings, but you want to, like, talk about it.
Yeah, that's not very masculine.
No, it's not like what society thinks masculine is. Which is, like, we all know that's where the problem is.
Yeah, that's all bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just warmed my heart to see these guys, like, actually getting in there and, like, doing the work and bringing these guys to a point where they realize that, like, you know what? I am good enough to be a man. Like, I am my own man, and I don't need anyone's checklist. I don't need anyone's, like, oh, things that you should have in your closet, whatever bullshit, to know that I am enough as I am, which is, I think, is just super important, especially for men.
Yeah, and episode 1 is perfect for that because the guy they make over is 58 years old. He lives in a basement apartment. He likes the same thing every single day. And one of his main, like, catchphrases is, you can't fix ugly.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying it in reference to himself.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's negative self-talk.
Oh, absolutely. And, like, you know, Sophia and I talk about this all the time. It's just, like, negative self-talk. You don't even realize when it's happening. You don't even realize you're doing it because a lot of times it's just so ingrained in how you view yourself that you think it's normal.
And you think it's a fact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not at all a fact. It's just that negative voice that comes out that just, like, preys on your insecurities and perceived shortcomings.
Yeah, and I forget his name, but the man in this episode, he keeps saying this and he keeps perceiving it as a fact. And then talk about the makeover. So they, like, cut his hair, they make over his basement apartment, they get him back together with his ex-wife.
Yeah, which was super fucking cute, by the way.
Yeah, and they actually remarried recently.
No.
Yes! I remember the wife's name, Abby.
Abby.
But I forgot. I'm so sorry. I forgot his name. Sweet Abby, darling Abby.
Aww.
Yeah.
See, that warms my fucking heart. And honestly, without this makeover business, I don't know if that would have happened.
Yeah, and it's not about, again, it's not about his outward appearance.
Oh, yeah. When we say makeover, we don't mean, like, physical makeover.
The overall inside and out makeover.
Yeah, because when these guys tackle this, you know, their clients' physical surroundings and their, like, physical just way of being, they also, like, start to deconstruct and, like, take down all of these, like, mental barriers that they themselves have put up for themselves. And it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and they help them accomplish things they never realized they could because there's all this negative self-talk and they put up walls around accomplishments they could do because they say things like, you can't fix ugly.
Yeah. And, you know, I think about this a lot recently, but, like, the only person on a regular basis who tells me I can't do something or I'm not good enough for something is myself, which is so fucking stupid. Like, guys, do you know how stupid that is? Like, come on. I'm sure we can all relate, but, like, why should I be the only person in the entire world who's putting, like, boundaries and barriers on myself? That just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I'm not quite sure, like, how this happened or, like, when it started happening this way. All I know is I don't fucking like it. I want to make it stop.
That's a good first step.
Right? So,
the first step is admitting that you have a problem.
And the second step is calling the Queer Eye guy. Although I don't know if I can nominate myself. So, Sophia, listeners, if you wanted to nominate me, that would be super cool.
I mean, you totally could. She's in pajamas right now with ice creams on them.
Yeah.
And the shirt has, like, 2 ice cream cones right where her boobs are. So I feel like Tan would not approve of this ensemble.
I think it's fucking adorable. Like, my pajamas are, like, a turquoisey color. It's got pink ice cream cones on it.
I didn't say it wasn't adorable, but do you deserve a makeover based on how you look right now? Maybe.
I would say based on my physical appearance at this moment,
butterfly clip in your hair.
Perhaps.
The one thing I want to say before we wrap up this episode is that, the discussion of episode 1, is that I wish they would have talked about why they broke up in the first place.
Who broke up? Abby. Abby and her husband.
Yeah. Yeah, because he keeps saying, like, she's the love of my life. I always want to be with her. So why
did they break up in the first place? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't for TV.
Maybe it wasn't, but I have a sneaking suspicion it had something to do with, like, he was feeling bad about himself and he took it out on her, or, he just kind of clammed up and she was like, I don't know what to do.
Or he's like a creature of habit, like he says, like he always goes to the same restaurant and orders the same thing, maybe.
Well, girls like a little spontaneity in their lives. Yeah.
Surprise her once in a while, fellas.
Yeah, exactly. Take it from us. We are women. We are qualified to talk about this.
We are human women.
We are alien women.
No, we are human women. This is human female humor that we're exhibiting. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
100100.
Bleep, blorp, morp, sleep, blorp. Just so we're clear, we're definitely not robots or aliens. Just putting that out there.
That's something a robot or alien would say.
But it's also something a human woman would say.
It's okay, let's just move on.
Well, it's up. What do you guys think? Let us know.
I want to talk about episode 2 because it's one of my faves.
Yeah.
It's Neil Reddy.
Oh, Neil Reddy.
And that episode is called Saving Sasquatch, and that's because he has this giant beard and this hair that's like past his shoulders, and it just makes him look like
a total freak,
a total yeti,
like a total like. If I saw that guy in a bar, I'd be like, oh, he's gonna try and kill me later. That is 100% what I would have thought. I would be like, oh. Is that like the pre-serial killer look? Is that like the pre-phase for what's about to happen?
Or is it like post-killing?
Or is it post-killing where you just let yourself go?
Yeah, he's like run away from the law and he grew all that hair.
He died his identity. But
we have to stop making fun of him. He's a real person out there.
I feel bad. But, like, also he's fine now. He's fine. Like, he got queer-eyed. It's cool.
He's fine, but also he's like fine.
I mean, more your type, but I mean, am I wrong?
Talking about like facial hair and hiding your identity, his main issue was like he was closing himself up to avoid getting hurt.
Yeah.
And he was like compartmentalizing his life. So like none of it would mix, and for that he would just like feel control.
Yeah. Like a semblance of being able to like control the different aspects of his life.
Yeah. And also his place looked disgusting.
Oh yeah, his apartment was super gross. Not because it was like a bad apartment.
It was a really nice apartment, actually.
It was a great apartment. It was just like so dirty because he had a really cute puppy
whose name is Forever,
which is kind of cheesy but also super cute.
But just like, just imagine being a dog park and be like, Forever catch.
Forever catch. Forever sit. Sit forever. Oh my god. Okay, we're having way too much fun with that. But like his apartment was really nice. It was just like very dirty and there's just like stuff all over the place, and like you can kind of tell like this guy didn't really like, his work was his life and that's all he like wanted to do.
Yeah, but even his like very close friends, they said that they don't really know him, which is very sad.
Yeah.
And then Neil would make all these jokes to like deflect personal questions, and you know, people would go try to hug him and stuff, and he would be so like, uncomfortable.
Yeah, he would just like seize up his whole body,
like shoulders up to his ears.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of that going on, like trying to keep the people at like a distance and stuff like that. But of course, our awesome friends, Queer Eye Gang,
Queer Eye Gang,
yeah, the Queer Eye Gang. They were able to like chip away at the walls and break it down and like just really connect with him in a way that I'm not sure that anyone else really tried before, because like that kind of chipping away and like just wanting to help someone takes like persistence and also like dedication and really just like caring that you do want to make this person's life better.
I mean, and also if like somebody is there specifically to change you, I feel like it's easier to I don't know, admit your problems, because it was just my friends and I was a closed off kind of person. I would feel like I'd be bothering them. Yeah. And again, I'd feel like I'd be getting hurt.
Yeah.
And Tan, who's Pakistani, the one who is in charge of style, really like dug in to the common backgrounds that they have, like Neil being Indian and him being Pakistani, and like, you know, like your parents' disapproval or approval of your life, and like getting married and all that stuff. So being Indian, because your name is Priya and they didn't just name you that for funsies.
I mean, that's true.
Did you like have anything in common with that at all, or were you just like enjoying the episode as it is?
I mean, I think it was like half and half. Like I was definitely enjoying the episode as it was, but there were little things that I could definitely relate to, like a certain pressure to like get married like very fast, which I was like, no thank you, I don't want to do that. I'm on the same page as Neil is. I'm just gonna not do that right now, and you can pressure me, but it's not gonna change.
Do you have a dowry suitcase?
No, I don't have a dowry suitcase, but when I saw that, I was like, la 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 la. Because someone I'm really, really close to, every time his mom comes from India and visits, she brings stuff for him to put in his dowry suitcase. It's like a thing he has. And he's always like, I don't need this. Why are you giving this to me? Stop spending money on like gold jewelry. And she's like, oh no, give it to your future wife. And he's like, well, I'm definitely not getting married anytime soon, so thank you, I guess, I think.
Marie Kondo would not like that.
No, she would not. She'd be like, melt it down for parts and sell it, or something. I don't know. But there was definitely like some poignant moments in that episode that I could relate to, and I think that just because I was able to relate to it because I'm Indian is not like the only reason why I found it so moving. I think a lot of people, especially maybe like men in later ages who are getting that same pressure from their parents to get married, were also able to like hopefully like relate to us and see like, oh, it's not the end of the world. There are other ways to like be happy in your life.
And at the end of the episode, he makes this big speech to these guys, and he like gives them all a hug, which is such a big step for him.
Yeah, because before, like we were saying, he would just seize up. He wouldn't even like outstretch his arms at all.
Yeah, literally ran away when they first saw him.
Yeah, and the fact,
and the fact that he actually like read out something, and he was genuinely thankful for these guys for opening him up. It was really touching, and it must have been a really big gesture for him.
Yeah, I mean, even just like watching it through the television screen and not even being there, like I could tell that this guy's life's changed. It changed completely for the better. Oh man, this show's so fucking awesome.
And this is the first time, well, not the first time, but Karamo, I just want to talk about him because his tag in the show is the culture guy. And I feel like it should be better named because he's sort of the guy who like helps. He's more of a counselor, actually.
Yeah, he like brings out what's inside to the light and like it helps them like work through it.
Yeah, and obviously like a therapy session isn't very cinematic. And,
yeah.
Duh. So he takes them on all these activities that are like metaphorically, you know,
breaking down
barriers or taking leaps of faith.
Yeah.
So with Neil, he took him to a boxing ring. And they were just boxing it out, and he's like, this is how it is, like you gotta get into the ring and feel all this emotions to feel the good emotions as well as the bad ones.
Right, and that also harkens back to like something that like I personally struggled with mental health is like, yes, sometimes like when things are not going great, you shut yourself down and you're just like, okay, if I don't feel anything, that's the best option. But like truly you have to feel the bad stuff in order to like feel the good stuff too. Like, there's that one saying where it's like, there's no light without darkness. Like, there's no good stuff without the bad stuff. And, like, yes, the bad stuff can be super daunting. And like it did with Neil, it could, like, totally shut down your entire life. But, like, you have to get back in the ring. You have to open up. And you have to throw some punches. And then it'll be okay. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and we have to give Karamo more credit because I read about him, actually. And his background is apparently in social work.
Oh, wow.
So that's why he's good at... Apparently, he's good at, you know, talking through these issues.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just for the show. I think they have to, like, put him in these sporty situations so he can look better on screen.
But I have to say that, like, Karamo's portion of, like, the work that he does, super fucking vital. Although, at the same time, every single guy in the Queer Eye gang, all of their work is so vital, and I feel like it's the combination of all 5 of these different factors that really push, like, actual change in these people's lives.
Yeah, and they're so encouraging. They're like a gaggle of mother hens.
I know! Oh, I fucking love it.
So, I'm talking about all my favorite episodes so far and my favorite moments. Do you have any?
Yeah, definitely. So my favorite 2 episodes were episode 4 and episode 7. And I know that you mentioned episode 4 a little earlier, which is the episode where the guy who they are working with is actually a gay guy, one of the gang. So, and, like, he actually hadn't come out to his stepmom.
Yes.
Yeah, because his father passed, and he was never able to come out to his father, which is, like, really, you know, sad for him, and, like, he feels very many emotions about that. But they helped him, like, come to terms with the reality that, like, you know what, like, you need to tell your stepmom, like, she not only, like, deserves to know, but you also deserve to be accepted for everything that you are. So I found that episode was particularly, like, reaching for the Kleenex.
Yes.
You know?
And they also talk him through, like, filling the stereotypes of the gay man, and he was so afraid to do that he even, like, regulated how he dressed and how he talked, because he wasn't thinking about how to be himself. He was just thinking about how to avoid being a stereotype.
Right, because in his profession, he was saying that, like, he didn't want to appear as less than. He wanted to be as, like, masculine and, like, as fitting in as possible.
Yeah, and even he said, like, even walking down the street, he didn't really want to wear, like, a tight polo because he associated, like, looking after your body and caring about your appearance with the gay community.
Which is, like, that's just, like, so wild.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, being so paranoid and being so scared about not being accepted for who you are.
I can't even imagine what kind of a toll that takes. Like, honestly.
I mean, it took a huge toll, and the letter that he reads out
oh my God.
to his stepmom.
Yeah.
So, to come out, he reads a letter to his stepmom, and it's addressed to his dad, as if he's talking to his dad.
Because he had, I think, originally wanted to do that for his dad.
Yeah, and it was such a beautiful coming out letter. Beautiful first line, and, like, you're crying all the way until the end.
And also, I just want to mention, like, even though we are kind of recapping, I guess, my favorite 2 episodes and Sophia's favorite 2 episodes, it's definitely still worth the watch. It's more than worth the watch.
Yeah, and it's such a feel-good watch, too. Like, if you're just coming home from work or something and you don't want something too heavy.
Yeah.
And you want to feel happy and jolly after it and feel hope and...
yeah.
hope and happiness for the world and how it will turn out. Like, this is it.
Yeah. And also, this is a great show to, like, even, like, watch with, like, your grandma or, like, a bunch of friends or whatever. Like, it is a total crowd pleaser. Like, everyone loves these guys, and it's very easy to see why. It's extremely easy to see why.
So, yeah, it was so nice to see, I forgot his name, but
the dude's name.
The dude.
Yeah. I mean...
AJ! It was so... It might even be the wrong name, but maybe I just pulled that out from my subconscious.
That's okay. You sound so excited. Let's just roll with it.
Yeah, but I'm so happy for him, and I'm happy he gets to, like, live his life with his boyfriend and possibly get married.
Yeah.
And know that, like, everybody he loves in his life gets to take part of that.
Yeah, and, like, know that he is accepted 100% for exactly who he is. And, like, he doesn't have to be afraid anymore. Like... he is not only, like, coming into, like, who he truly is, but he's also, like, just, like, building the life that he's always wanted. He's becoming the best version of himself.
Yeah, that coming out was so raw. Like, please don't miss it.
Yeah, you gotta go and watch it. Like, seriously, guys, go watch it now. Oh, man. Although, I gotta say, side note, Jonathan, who is the dude in charge of grooming, is... probably, like, one of my top 5 favorite people on the show. Because they're all my favorite.
Yeah, he has like the outsized personality. He's like the most flamboyant gay man, but he's like so owning it and like finger snaps.
I know, and he just makes me want to like be a better person. Like he just brings out like my silly, cheery side.
Yeah, he says this thing where he's like, "Who gave you permission to be so sexy, so confident?"
And the answer is you have to give yourself permission.
Yes.
To be sexy.
I just want him to be like, instead of Bloody Mary, I say Jonathan 3 times and he pops up in my mirror. Like, "Hey Sophia, who gave you permission to be so gorgeous? Work it."
You know what we need?
What?
We need like, one of those like buttons that you push and like the button says something. I need a Jonathan button where like I hit it in the morning and then it's like, "Hey girl, good morning," and like blah blah blah, and it's just like setting me up for my best day ever.
He should be like, you know how celebrities can be voices in your GPS?
Fuck yes!
No, but also he should be like a voice or like a character that you can put in your smart mirror.
Oh,
so he'd be in your mirror and he can like talk you and hype you up for the day.
Hell fucking yes. If anyone wants to bankroll that idea, we are so down. But seriously, one of my faves. But episode 7 is also a really, really good episode.
It's called Below Average Joe, and Joe is a comedian who's lost a ton of weight. So he's accomplished something great in that, but he's still bringing his old, low confidence self to the table. I don't know where he's bringing it. He's bringing it everywhere.
He's bringing it on stage. He's bringing it to the grocery store. He is what he is.
Yeah, he's lugging it around. It's a burden.
Yeah, and like he still lives with his parents, and he's
still in his old childhood bedroom, which is right next to his parents. And they like tease him about like not getting a woman because they're right next to his parents' bedroom.
Yeah,
and they're like banging his bed against the wall just to see like
will his parents hear him.
Oh, it's definitely very audible.
Oh, 100%. And he's like wearing these really old baggy clothes, and he is just like hiding behind like facial hair. I think it was like a mustache or something.
A mustache and also some like joke deflection.
Oh yeah, he was definitely one with the self-deprecating, deflecting humor style thing. And I honestly was just like, I saw this episode and I was like, hey, poor sweet man. Let them help you. You deserve so much better. You've accomplished something amazing. And also, I thought this episode was really interesting because it kind of like tapped into the family dynamic with him and his brother, who was also a comedian. His brother apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but his brother is like a little more of a successful comedian than he is.
Yes.
And so they tapped into like that dynamic between the brothers, and I thought that was really interesting because they brought the brother in for like something, I forget what it was, and immediately you could see like his physicality and his like personality change. Like he immediately became like kind of like submissive, and like his shoulders came in a little bit, and I was
he
like,
just shrunk back.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That sounds therapy worthy. Like you need to dig into that. That's just one woman's opinion, though.
Yeah, they just had him work on his self-confidence. They had him perform, and they were like, you're so good, it's just that you don't look people in the eye.
Yeah.
And like the simplest things are sometimes the hardest things. Is there anything else you want to say before I get to the end of it? Because I love the ending of this episode.
Oh my god. I was like really hoping that we were going to spend like 1,000,000 minutes on the ending. Because it's so...
It's so funny.
Okay.
I could not breathe.
I know. Okay, if you guys don't want us to spoil it for you, we will see you next week on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay? But we're going to get into it right now.
Thank you so much. Try your best to live your best life. Bye.
Okay, now let's talk about the good part.
So he performs a set in his like bomb new outfit with his cute little bomber jacket.
Yeah.
He does great because he's making all the eye contact and has all the self-confidence.
And you can totally tell he's carrying himself very differently, which I was like, you go, man.
Yeah, and he still has his jokes when he's talking to people. It's just like, it's not self-deprecating. It's
Self-opposite deprecating? We don't know what the word is, but we totally get what you're saying.
Self-embiggening. Like, he's not beating up on himself. Like, he is no longer the center of his own jokes.
Yeah.
You know? And then a little intrigue, but there's this woman that he never told the Fab Five about.
Yeah.
And there's like this woman he meets up with at the end of his set, and like they seem to kind of know each other. They're very cozy.
Mm-hmm. Cozy is the right word. Definitely the right word.
They're very close to canoodling.
Oh yeah, one step away from canoodling.
1.5 degrees away.
So they meet up at the bar after the show.
Yeah, they hold hands.
Which is like, oh.
Yeah, they're like, who is this? Like, this guy never told me about this woman.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, hey, do you want to go out sometime? And she says, sure. And then they kiss.
And it's so heart-meltingly adorable.
And also, like, when you, like, cut back to the Fab Five watching this, it's like a bomb exploded in the room. Like, everybody's just freaking the fuck out. Yes! Jonathan has his legs in the air, like, screaming his head off.
And it's so amazing to see how invested they are in each one of their clients.
Yeah, how much they care. It's very personal.
And you know what? I feel like a lot of the times in media or like makeover shows or whatever, it's like, yeah, they care, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, okay, on to the next person.
Yeah, and they fucking leave.
Yeah, but these guys, I really feel like they're invested and they're emotionally, like, really, really just in tune with getting this guy to where he needs to be. This
all
guy
men.
being all the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, they are all easily my top 5 favorite people ever.
It's funny because I was reading interviews with them and how they came to audition for the show, and Tan was like, I didn't even want to get on the show. I just wanted to audition so I can meet gay friends.
Oh my god, that's so funny. God, thank God he did. Tan is the best.
Yeah, him and his coiffed hair and his goddamn bee-stung lips.
Oh my god, the hair. I cannot get over the hair. It's so perfect every time you see him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Who we haven't really mentioned was Bobby, who I feel like is very, very
the unsung MVP of the Fab Five.
Absolutely, because he never gets interviewed because he's so busy working hard to like help with the interior of the home.
Yeah, or like, you know, it's not like an interior design show. It's just one part of the show. Mm-hmm. So, and like the interior design is supposed to be surprise for the subject and for the viewers.
Yeah.
So they can't really bring too much of him like during all the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes he gets a little easily overlooked, but he is like the unsung hero of Queer Eye. I just love him so much, and Anthony and his food, and I've actually been wanting to try that one, like, avocado
grapefruit.
Yes, I want to try that salad so bad.
Sorry, guys, that clap was like right next to the mic. That wasn't thunder, it was just my hands coming together.
That was Sophia's excitement.
For avocado grapefruit.
Her audible excitement.
And the thing is, Anthony is kind of like shit on a little too for like doing these very simple meals and kind of like, okay, that's my job, bye. Just like being cute and like showing them how to make guacamole.
Which he does a very good job of.
Yeah, and like they don't cook on a regular basis. So of course you start with the basics.
Yeah.
And I bet there's more meals that he's taught them. It's just like
definitely.
He can't take over the whole show. So it just looks like he's teaching them how to make guacamole and grapefruit avocado salad and like being like, all right, my work is done.
Bye.
I'm gonna go shop for another polo shirt.
Before we wrap up this episode, I just wanted to mention that Queer Eye is really, really awesome because not only does it tackle like mental health in a very like physical and tangible way, and also these ideas of like masculinity in our society today, but it also just like talks about topics that are really, really like politically icky to touch, like racism and like police violence and religion, exactly. And it's just a very good show. I don't even know what more to say.
Yeah, I feel like it just humanizes these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And in the episode where Karamo, who is a black gay man, talks to a police officer about police violence against the black community, he's having this conversation that's very, very intimate, and he's not saying that this is like the end-all be-all of that issue. He's just saying like, this is me trying to open up a dialogue and seeing this other person as a human being, and you can nitpick it and, you know, say all these things about these issues, but he's very upfront about just like wanting to be a human being with this other human being.
And that's what's so beautiful about it, is that all in any parts of this show is they're never forcing anyone on their opinion, of their way of doing things, of their, you know, their style, their whatever. It's about creating conversation and a dialogue where, like, both parties are understood and, like, creating the best version of everything.
Yeah, and I feel like the best change is the kind that comes from within. Mm-hmm. So it's all about having their input, and the best thing about this type of makeover show is that it's sustainable.
Exactly.
Like, they don't just leave and then everything goes back to shit again. It's just like you feel like these people will go back to their lives changed.
Especially because, like, at the end of every episode, they have a moment that the Fab Five, which is, like, you know, the Queer Eye gang, they share with their client, and a lot of the time the client is just, like, crying. They're like, I don't know what I would have done without you in my life. Like, thank you. Like, I needed this. And when you see those moments, you're like, wow, I mean, this is truly incredible.
Yeah, I feel like for most of the guys, it was pretty life-changing. I just want to say, though, I found it interesting. I read about Joe, the comedian, and...
This is from Joe from episode 7.
Episode 7.
Right.
And he gets a website set up for him, and it was done by Karamo.
Yeah.
And apparently he took that down before the show aired.
What?
I think he just, like, was not ready, or, you know, that self-doubt.
Man.
So, you know, we wish the best for him. It's just, like, so interesting just to see this sort of change happen in a person's life, and maybe they have to pull back a little bit.
Yeah, but also, like, you know, the Fab Five and, like, this, you know, quote-unquote makeover process, it can only do so much. It can only be the beginning steps, because if you do have things that you want to work through, I mean, you're going to have to keep working at it.
That's
preferably
true.
with someone, like a therapist or whatever, like support group, or however you feel like you need to do it, because, like, they can't take care of everything for you, even though I'm sure that they would really love to.
And that's a really good point to bring up, is that recovery or change, it doesn't happen in one go, like in Hollywood, where, like, you get the makeover or the therapy, or you go through an adventure, and then after that you're fine, you're cured.
Exactly.
Like, mental health and recovery is an ongoing process.
Basically, their whole job is to just set the client up for success.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's not a contest.
Yeah, they just want you to have, like, the best start that you can, and then go from there. And I just thought that that was really just, like, a good talking thing to bring up. A good talking thing to bring up.
Talking thing.
Wow, I think I'm getting tired, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Do you guys have any good talking things to bring up for the pod?
Yeah, any talking things that you want us to be talking things about? Let me know. Send us an email at selfhelpuspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to talk things and think talk with everything that you send us. We would love that.
And one thing we're also going to do is post both of our Goodreads account, because Priya and I are huge bookworms. Yeah. So if you want to recommend us a book in general, but also, like, mental health stuff, you can go ahead and recommend that to our accounts.
Yeah, and we will most likely read it. So there you go. More talk things to
think about. Things.
Oh my God. Tongue twister today, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We missed you so much from that last week.
Yes, it's been so long since we've talked to you, even though it's really only been a week. But for us, it's been so long. We've been looking forward to this for so many days. We're glad to have you back in our lives, dear listeners.
If you want to follow along with us, stay tuned to see what's up on the next episode. Try your best to live your best life.
Take care, guys.
Bye. Next week on the podcast, we're going to talk about CBD, or cannabidiol, which is a compound that's taken from hemp or marijuana, but does not have the psychoactive effects.
So it's got all the good stuff. It's all relaxation, all of the anti-inflammatory properties, and
anti-anxiety.
Yeah, basically all of the, like, medicinal stuff without the feeling of being high. So we're going to take it, we'll try it out, report back next week on the podcast.
See you then.